Welcome back, team, on the journey to transform culture. I'm Steve, and I'll be your guide. Well, folks, it's with a heavy heart that I report that my mother passed away last week. And as difficult as that is, I definitely think it was important to continue, right, the effort in, I guess you could say, in the spirit of transformation and improving and helping to transform culture to continue the conversation while mom and her experience was fresh in my, I guess you could say, in my sphere. My mom was affectionately known as Granny Annie, right? Not only by family, but also those who knew her. She was in a life care situation in a nursing home, and she'd been there for about 2 years, and she passed peacefully. But But during that 2 years, mom had a significant impact on people who lived there. She was, a bit of a, kind of a humorous spark to the group. She was also the bingo blackout queen, so she was constantly winning at bingo. In fact, after she'd passed and so forth, and we'd cleaned up some of her items, found a box full of bingo money, that they make there. And then they would use that to buy their little, their goods and their toys and stuffed animals for the grandkids, great grandkids, I should say. And so, but found a box, and mom had it, it was stuffed full of money. And not only that, she had all kinds of, her room was really becoming a cantina. It was really full of all of these things that she had bought and won. And that she was obviously preparing to give away and so forth. But I kind of joked with my daughter, kind of had to shake our heads. I think mom was actually trying to open up her own after hours bingo parlor, and it just kind of felt like that. And anyway, so she was a spark to the folks there, and she definitely brought a smile. And so that's, all good stuff. Mom had a very full and loving life, and she was loved. And I think back to growing up, and I think the big topical element that I want to bring to the conversation is believing, right? And there's so much you could wrap into believing, but because we are, in this environment, using organizations as a jumping in point to transform culture, right? We really have to look at how do we interweave believing amongst our team, and then if we're part of the team, how do we meld believing into what we're doing, and not only for the customers, but for our those who we're working day to day, shoulder to shoulder with. Not only the people we work with, quite frankly, but in culture, the culture at large. Your families, your friends, all of it. Your civic organizations, your community, your churches, all of it. So, think about believing, right? What do you believe? You there's so much. Everybody has so many variances to what they believe, right? One thing that I think we have to acknowledge is, this is pretty obvious, but I'm going to state it. Our time is limited in this three-dimensional plane of existence, and we only have so much time to make a difference in not only the lives of others, but those, on our teams and our organizations. Obviously, that's what we do as professionals to, make our way in the world, but our families and our communities, right? But also for ourselves, because we are also growing and developing. And the better we become, the better we are for others. That's an indelible impression that was left on me by my mom, Granny Annie. Growing up was, that you have empathy, that you do right by others, that you don't intentionally hurt others' feelings. You don't, obviously we're human beings, we're going to make mistakes, but that you learn from those mistakes and that you move forward, that you're uplifting and you encourage other folks. And then sometimes, people just need to take a knee and regroup, right? And we have to respect that. But all of that said, we all want, and I even speak about this in the book, you know, hopefully, and I know this isn't going to be true for everyone, that we had mothers and fathers and families and friends who believed in us. I know that mom believed in me even when she didn't know, where I was, who I was, what organization I was helping, who I was helping. She knew that I was doing the right thing, that I was doing good for someone. And I would explain it, and she would get about 10% of it and go, "Oh, okay," because her world was a different world. She didn't understand much of what I did. But much of the important parts of what I did, she understood very well. And that was enough. But we all need someone to believe in us, even when, we have those moments where we're not sure we believe in ourselves, right? And she was one of those people for me. And, you think about all the people that influence your life, those are people, whether you consciously think about it or not, they really do believe in you. They really want you to thrive, but everybody's in a different place and they're all trying to, people are trying to survive and they're trying to contribute in their own way. And sometimes we get busy, but we all need to consciously bring that belief that we know we have in others, and we need to speak it. We need to communicate it. If we're a leader of a team or in an organization, a family, anything, we need to communicate how much we believe in those people who are supporting us and likewise. If we're a member of those teams, we need to communicate that we believe in the leader, that, hey, we know you got our best interests at heart. We know you're going to be able to figure it out. We trust you, right? These are so simple, such a simple thing to say out loud that you would think that we all get it. And I think we all do get it, but we don't all hear it and we don't all communicate it. And so, oftentimes we'll show it in some ways or others, and how we appreciate others. And that's fantastic. But sometimes we just need to state it. We just absolutely need to state it. I'll reference the Ted Lasso series. Really enjoyed that. Great Heart, a show that was written with great heart. And then they have Believe, which I thought was fascinating because I've always, gravitated to the whole notion of believing in you, not only in yourself, but believing in your team, believing in those that you care about. Not only those you care about, you want to believe in those people that don't necessarily care about you, that don't necessarily have your best interests in mind. You need to believe that they're growing to that one day that you'll both have a belief in one another, a trust in one another. That needs to be attached to that belief as a hope. It's a hope that if I continue to believe and work towards that in a positive, healthy way, that over time, you can bring the things that you hope for to life through that belief. Does it mean we don't do the work? Absolutely. We got to do the work. But we also have to believe in what we're doing. We have to believe, and we also have to challenge too. We have to challenge our own preconceived notions. We have to question our own, perspective. So we have to kind of, I guess you could say, now with virtual reality and all the rest of it, we have to kind of step outside ourselves and walk about 30 degrees to the left or to the right and look and go, okay, is what I'm thinking and saying really, what am I thinking? What am I seeing? What's going on here? And take different perspectives, because some of that belief needs to be that you to be able to latch onto that belief means that you do need to do the due diligence to gain perspective. Very difficult to believe others have, all of their focus is, aligned with yours on a team. If you don't and can't step outside yourself to see things from their perspective, to see that the things that they're bringing to light or questions they have or innovations that they're coming up with, how successful they could be when you synergize all of those ideas together. So, belief, hope, all of that stuff rolled into one. But I think for myself, the whole notion of transformation, it doesn't matter if it's at the individual level, the team level, group level, onward and outward through culture, it was really inculcated into me from how my mom spoke to me, even as a child, very, respectfully, um, hopefully, excitedly about new, possibilities and things going on. And also, autonomy and sovereignty, respecting the sovereignty of a person to develop themselves. And I think of this with my own kids. I didn't, hawk over them and say, you're going to be a this or you're going to be a that. You need to allow your team, members of the people that you care about in any element of a group to be able to explore their own development and what their passion is, because that's where they're going to contribute best. And sometimes that means that team members might branch off to do their own thing or become members of other teams, and that's okay. We do not need to attach any judgment or value to that. Just understand that that people will align where their cohesion is best, where it's healthiest, where it's going to be most fruitful. Again, our time is limited. So if we're not exploring the best ways for us to grow, whether that's joining a new team, going to a new organization, moving to a new town, taking on a new endeavor, completely changing gears and becoming something, that you had a passion to do your entire life that you've never done before. You may have done this one thing and you were this one thing for 20 or 30 years or so. And all of a sudden, I won't say all of a sudden, but it's developed in you. That seed has grown and has been, uh, you know, uh, is about to break through. And that seed that was planted so long ago, now an opportunity arises that allows you to pursue that. You have to believe and feel that is in you for a reason. You have to believe that. And you have to also support people on your team and your families and the communities, all of that, and respect the sovereignty of that belief. Because when we do that for others, obviously we're doing it for ourselves. And that's the kind of support we need to approach each other with. So I guess what I'm going to sum this, little talk up with is Granny Annie definitely believed the best in other people, even when people, were struggling to do their best or to find their center. Granny Annie definitely was a person who believed the best in folks, and that was the love, and that's how she protected love and how she lived. And, this is why when I say, 3 to 5 times a day, push that good domino to uplift, inspire, motivate, and encourage other folks. A lot of the genesis of that is from Granny Annie. Okay. So hopefully you can take this little bit of food, that I've been given throughout my life, and you can pass that on to others, because just speaking to others in a way that lets them know that you believe in them, you believe that they have it in them, whatever that is, whatever it is in regard to, that you will see not only results from them, you will see growth in them. And it isn't necessarily going to be on your team. Okay. So don't take it personally. It is what it is. When we grow, sometimes we have to go to grow. I mean, that's just life. Okay. So again, hit that good domino 3 to 5 times a day, like I said. And when you do that, not only you're transforming other lives, but you're helping to transform yourself, and all of culture benefits from that. And that's an amazing thing. So for now, I'm going to sign off. Hope everyone has a fantastic week. Take care. We'll see you later.